Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Parksy here, your coach of the Armaldos, bringing it back to Smash today here for week number one, actually round number one of my first battle of the Draft League World Series. We Armaldos are going to be going against Jay Reezy and his team. Now, something that I didn't actually realize, and I forgot to tell you guys, is that there is actually 4 games that I get to play instead of one, but it is instead of being your usual 1 game per week, it's 4 games per month, which still does equate down to 1 game a week, but it does give me a bit more freedom if I am free a week more so than maybe another one, say for example. But it just means you guys should be getting more uploads. So even if I do get kicked out the first round as well as the rest of my team, at least that means you guys at the very least will be getting 4 uploads. But Jay was a very hard person to draft for. His team is absolutely insane. I will just list off his team again. It's a Pokemon draft. He has brought 6 of his 8. So we brought Superior, Scolipede, Empoleon, Florges, Mega Ampharos, and Salazzle, leaving on the bench Terrakion and Hoopa Unbound. I know, an absolutely insane team. Very good offensively with a very good defensive core in Empoleon and Florges as well. Surprisingly, he did opt to leave his Hoopa and Terrakion behind, but I do get the Hoopa at the very least because I do have 4 U-turners and a Alolan Persian that can sponge his hits quite well, so I can understand that. The Terrakion I still think was very good against my team, especially something such as a Choice Band Terrakion. I have no switch into the combination of Rock and Fighting, just like most teams, I guess, in 8-mon formats. But the Pokemon that I decided to bring was a Choice Scarf, 4 attacks, Infernape, a Dragon Dance, 3 attacks, Grounding EMZ, a Zygarde 50%, a physically defensive cleric variant of Sylveon, a specially defensive with a bit of actually it's a mixed defensive Mega Aggron set, which is my rocker. It also has Rest, which is also important for my secondary Choice Scarf user, Lantern, which is kind of nice. I thought that'd be kind of a cool bring because I can OHKO the Salazzle, outspeed it, and also get off 50% of chip damage off the Terrakion, plus a 30% chance to burn, plus also the fact that they will outspeed all variants except Choice Scarfers. So I have got 3 attacks and Heal Bell, which is useful for things like if he wants to bring Glare in a Superior and Glare spam, if he wants to toxic spam me with Corrosion Salazzle, or if I do Rest with my Mega Aggron because I can't get the Wish in my Sylveon for whatever reason, I can always bring in my Choice Scarf Lantern and pretty much be confirmed to know that I can help out my Mega Aggron. And finally, I have got a bulky yet speedy Chardy Berry Tornadus with enough investment so that I could live a Choice Band Stone Edge from a Terrakion, which he didn't bring, I guess. But the Pokemon that he did bring, again, are super scary. I haven't actually prepared that much for Mega Ampharos. I thought he was going to leave it behind just because it doesn't really match up best against things such as Sylveon and my Zygarde 50%, but he brought it, and it is a bit of a scary threat, as well as the fact that there's Mold Breaker, which I actually forget about in building, and I actually showed 6 people in total this team, and I'll go in to show why I made a little bit of a mistake, not too groundbreaking, but still would have maybe affected a few plays that I made in the game. But without further ado, let's go collect stars. I decided to lead off my Choice Scarf Infernape, just because I do outspeed everything on this team, barring Choice Scarf Salazzle and Choice Scarf Superior, and if I don't like my matchup, I can simply U-turn. I am trying to work out whether the Empoleon is Shuckleberry or Choppleberry. I am presuming it is going to be Shuckleberry, just because Zygarde seems to be such a huge threat versus this team, as he decides to go out into his Salazzle, as I decided to go for my Flare Blitz. His only resist is the Salazzle, which takes over 50%. That was, however, a medium to high damage roll, so I am going to switch out my Infernape here, not wanting to take the poison type attack, and going out into my Lantern, as he actually decides to double here out into his Ampharos. So I could have actually got off 2 Flare Blitzes, but that's my mistake I guess playing predictably, as he is going to Mega Evolve his Mega Ampharos. I'm going to go for the Volt Switch here, and this damage just doesn't really tell me much, just because there's a resistance hit, and Mega Ampharos automatically just has really good bulk in general. So I'm going to go out here into my Sylveon, which does actually take this Volt Switch that you're going to see very well, showing that he is not going to have much special attack investment, so he is probably going to be a tank Mega Ampharos Mega Ampharos, most likely just to deal with my Tornadus better, as he is going to go out into the Polion. I'm going to go fire a Wish here, trying to heal myself, or if he decides to make another double, I will always have that good momentum against him, as I always will have that Wish in the air. Plus, also, I want to see if this thing is Shuckle Berry, and if so, I want to pop it. So he's going to go for the Toxic here, which is annoying, but I have got Heal Bell on my Lantern in the back, as I already previously mentioned, so it's not super bad against my team, just because if it does get annoying, I can heal Bell it off, excuse me. But as I did predict, he is a Shuckle Berry and Empoleon, which means that now my Zygarde just can safely just break down this Empoleon. That also covered his double out into Salazzle if he did want to make a bit more of an offensive play, as I decided to go out into my Lantern here, and I am just going to fire off a Skull, because if I can burn the Scolipede, that means it is a threat that is neutralized, because it is a very scary Pokemon, especially since the fact it can use Sword Stance and Ground in EMZ. However, he is going to set up a layer Toxic Spike, so I'm very happy that I brought Defog on my Tornadus. I was debating on some occasions not bringing Tornadus just because he has got a defiant potential in Empoleon and a contrary potential in Superior. So he is going to go again double out into his Superior, but that actually works out for me, because I am going to go out into my Tornadus, trying to scout for the Ground in EMZ on the Scolipede that he might have went for my Lantern on that turn, as he is going to be forced out. I'm going to get a free Defog off with a fast U-turn, which is going to be super nice. But he actually did show to be Black Sludge and a Scolipede after that, so he doesn't bring a Z user, since the Z users were Terrakion, which is not in the game, and Scolipede, which he decided to bring Black Sludge. So some interesting prep. I do sort of understand why I brought Toxic Spikes. It is nice for weighing down my team, especially because I do only have 2 Defoggers in Decidueye and Tornadus, and I was heavily contemplating either bringing Decidueye or Tornadus, so I would have had a Defogger at the very least. But Tornadus just helped me deal a lot more Superior. If I didn't bring Tornadus, I felt like Superior could just blow through my team with Dragon Pulse and Leaf Storm a bit too effectively. But here I am a Kebia Berry. I know I can chew this hit, even if he is Choice Back. So I chew up my hits, and I decide that I am going to trade my Sylveon essentially for the Salazzle, as that's just going to free up my Mega Aggron generally, and it is going to mean that I can probably better check things like the Scolipede and the Florges, and that I won't have a Salazzle to worry about. So I felt like that was a trade that was in my favour, especially because he did just have some really annoying Pokemon for my Sylveon to deal with, like the Scolipede, the Empoleon, the Salazzle. I'm not actually running Hyper Voice in that Sylveon, sorry. I was running Moonblast in case he brought a Throat Chop, Hoopa Unbound. So if he was going to bring a substitute Superior, I wouldn't even be able to beat that 1v1. So here I'm going to go for the Volt Switch again, and again switch into my Tornadus, as even if he does go for the Moonblast, I'll have to switch in twice sure to make sure that I can take a Poison Jab from a +2 Scolipede. But that does mean that I'll be able to get rid of the rocks at least, and I do want to get rid of the rocks just because it allows me to have another sack in Sylveon act as a dragon deterrent to the Mega Ampharos, and yeah, just so that my things like my Infernape aren't going to be chipped down, especially because Sylveon's so weak, so I'm probably not going to be able to pass any more wishes off. I definitely need to reserve the health on my other Pokemon, but here he goes to the Toxic. I hard switch. I could have gone for the U-turn, probably would have been a bit of a better play, but I was predicting him to go for the Protect there to get some extra toxic damage racked up on me, so I decided to go for the hard switch. Bit of a mistake on my part, as here I decided to go out into the Lantern, and here I'm like, oh wait, he's got Mold Breaker. Alright, but he hard switches into the Superior. Probably he doesn't even realize about Mold Breaker. But here I decided to go out into my Tornadus again on the Superior, as he is going to go for the substitute. And I was predicting him to potentially bring a substitute Superior, either that or something like a Dragon Pulse, Leaf Storm, Glare Synthesis set, but generally a bit of a more bulkier Superior, as he is going to go for the Protect here, chipping me down with the Toxic once more, as I decided to go for my Air Slash here. I'm very happy I brought Air Slash over Hurricane. Actually went for the U-turn, apologies, but I'm very happy that I brought Air Slash over Hurricane, otherwise it would have been a nightmare to take down the Superior set, so thank goodness for my prep. Right there, thank goodness that I brought a bit of a bulkier Tornadus rather than, okay, let's try and flying spam my opponent. So here I go for the U-turn, trying to keep my Tornadus at the 100% health, and here I decide just use my Sylveon as a sack, just because it is going to just go die right here, and I am going to be able to get some free switch-ins either to my Tornadus or my Infernape, whichever one I choose, and I'm going to get a bit more of an offensive momentum out of that. So I decided to go out into, if I believe correctly, my Infernape. No, sorry, my Tornadus, as here I can't just go for the U-turn, I can't go for the air slash, and I think I go for the air slash here, yeah I do, and I miss, which is a bit annoying. It's only a 5% chance to miss, which definitely sucks. To get that 5%, but at the end of the day I don't think it would have mattered too much at the end game. So we are 5-5, and here I am going to just hard switch once more out into my Aggron, as I think he actually might go out into his Ampharos again here. So he goes out into his Ampharos, and I'm really misplaying it. Now looking back on it, I probably should have been U-turning out in Forges a bit more, but I was really scared of a +2 Poison Jab Scolipede, especially because here I decide, okay, I'm going to let my Aggron take the hit, the potential Focus Blast from the Ampharos, just so that I can chip it down, so my Infernape late game can potentially sweep my opponent with Flare Blitz. Just need to get a little bit more chip damage off on the floor, just if that were to be the case, such as Stealth Rocks. But here he Volt switches out into Superior. I'm going to set up my Stealth Rocks. This Superior really can't do that much to me, as he decides to go for the Leaf Storm, which is a 17, and I'm going to go set up my Rocks here because he is making a lot of switches, and plus if I I do want to force the Empoleon in, just because that can potentially leave my Zygarde to get a kill, or get my Lantern in once more to fire off Volt Switch, which I am going to go and mention now. His team didn't have any electric responses, and no ground types in his team, and no volt absorbers, so that's why Lantern I felt was a really good bring this game, just because I could freely spam Volt Switch, get some offensive momentum if I needed to, and plus the Heal Bell was always nice. So I'm going to go for the U-turn here, as he is severely chipping down my Tornadus. In fact, I don't believe that I'll be able to get all my health back. Yeah, I won't be able to get all my health back now due to Regenerator, so I'm going to actually have to try and get my Tornadus in a little bit more. But here I decided to go out into my Infernape, as I think he goes for another. Yeah, he goes for another Leech Seed. But unfortunately he misses, so it is very unfortunate for him. Again, it doesn't really matter near the end game, and it does make up for the fact that I missed Air Slash on my Tornadus, because if Florges was sent in on Rocks now, I believe it would be 2 IQ plus the Air Slash damage. As here he's going to go out into the Mega Ampharos, and wow, this thing is max HP. Max defense, as you're about to see, as the calcs say that for a max HP max defense variant it takes about 17 to 19. That thing took 17, so yeah, that thing is not going to be knocked out by another Flare Blitz, and it's annoying because he's also packing Rest on the set, so he might be running Sleep Talk, a bit of a weird set if he was going to be running Volt Switch and potentially a Dragon Stab on a Sleep Talk set, but he is actually going to reveal here that he does have the Sleep Talk, so I might be able to see his fourth move here, but unfortunately he does get Rest. So he is not going to be able to attack me, which is good for me, unlucky for my opponent, but that is the downside of having to run Rest, Sleep Talk on Pokemon that don't get reliable recovery. As here I'm just going to go fire off another Ice Beam. I do want to get this Pokemon into range of 2 Flare Blitzes, so that if you look at his team, nothing is going to be switching into 2 Flare Blitzes, and now with Rocks up, so he is going to actually be able to Sleep Talk roll into a Dragon Pulse, which is going to do over 50% to my Lantern, since it is very minimally HP invested, and is a Choice Scarf variant. So I'm going to go fire off a third Ice Beam, just in case he wants to sack off his Mega Ampharos, because it is slower than all of my team, as shown by my Mega Aggron through its speed creeping, being able to outspeed the Ampharos to get off the Earthquake. So I do play a little bit predictable there, going for another Ice Beam, as he does get a free switch into his Florges, but I figured that was fine, just because I do get my switch into my Mega Aggron, which is going to be very nice, because I can threaten things out with Heavy Slam, as he doubles here out into his Empoleon. I think that's fine, just because he's going to be defogging, or he's going to be setting up his Rocks, or at the worst he goes for a Scald. So I'm going to go for my Lantern, as he does go for the Scald, and here I'm actually going to pause this. Here would have been nice if I actually ran Water Absorb my Lantern, because it would have been over about 50 to 60%, but again, doesn't really matter too much. It would have been nice to have a bit of a higher health Lantern. It does affect a few of my plays later on in the game. That's probably the thing that I'm kicking myself most about, but again, I did show it to 6 people, and everyone was like, yeah, that's a good team, and no one really really. So the problem with Moldbreaker and Mega Ampharos. So I guess that just shows how unlikely it is to actually face a Mega Aggron, not a Mega Aggron, a Mega Ampharos in a Draft League format. Sorry if I'm making a lot of mistakes, guys. I'm quite thirsty, and yeah, got a lot of work to do as well. So that's all fun. But I decided here to go for the Volt Switch, as he is going to stay in, and I am going to be able to get my Volt Switch off, which does put this thing into range of just being OHKO'd by a Flare Blitz, so that is super nice. As here I go out into my Mega Aggron here, presuming that he is probably going to be going again for the Defog or for the Stealth Rocks again, as he goes to the Stealth Rocks, and I decide to take the Skull Tit here. I do have my Tornadus, which can always respond to the Scullipede, as he does unfortunately get the burn, which is super annoying, because without this burn, as you're about to see, I would have been able to knock out the Empoleon, but he didn't burn my Lantern, and because I'm doing probability and mass, I can now say that that was a 51% chance that he should have got at least one burn on those two skulls. So there we go, mass teaching you something, kids. But he is going to be able to knock out my Mega Aggron, which I guess was fine, just because I felt like it served its purpose. I still do have my Tornadus, and I feel like all the rest of my team can offensively check the Scullipede to make sure it doesn't set up a Sword Stance. So I'm going to go for the Volt Switch here, knock out the Empoleon and preserve the sack in my Lantern, and I can also get my free switch into my Infernape, which is basically going to be able to get me a kill unless he does go out into the Florges, which spoilers, he does. So my Infernape is going to come in once again, as he is going to be able to go out into the Florges. I'm a little annoyed I didn't bring Close Combat, but I did have 4 move slot Syndrome, bringing Flare Blitz, U-Turn, Earthquake, and Gunk Shot. So I am going to go just ahead here and stack up my Lantern. If he did want to double again, I got offensive momentum, and if he did decide to go for something like the Wish or the Protect, scouting out potentially, knowing that I'm a Scarf set, then he would again not really gain anything from that turn. So here I am deciding, okay, you know what, I see an opening for my Zygarde, I am going to go out into it because I can see a potential sweep here. So I decide to go set up a Dragon Dance here. I know I can live in Moonblast from the physically defensive Florges, which he should be, almost definitely, as it does turn out to be, as I take about 80% of damage, but I'm still in there, and even if he does protect on this turn, Tectonic Rage through the Protect plus my +1 Earthquake from my Zygarde is going to be able to put this thing into range. So as you see, he is going to go for the Protect here. I do crit here, but again, as I said, he would have been in range of a +1 Earthquake anyway, because it did a really good amount of damage. +1 Tectonic Rage managed to knock this thing out. So +1 Earthquake would have probably done about 60 or 70%, which again, crit is only 1.5 times. So yeah, so I'm going to be able to knock out the Florges here with Earthquake. Again, no reason to run 1,000 hours because he had no flying type. So a little bit annoying that the ground type that I have doesn't really lose anything from my opponent having flying types in the team, but I get a bit of a stronger base stab, I guess. As here I see the victory, and he turns out to be a super bulky superior, which is super annoying because I could have just about been able to win that game if I did knock out that superior, but that is good prep on his part, bringing a bit of defensive superior. And it's just going to make this endgame even closer, as now I am super scared of that Scullipede, which he has got still lying in the back. So here I decided to go out into my Tornadus. It is just my safest play, as here I can go out into the U-turn into my Infernape. Then once he loses his superior or sacks something off, I can go out into my Infernape and either click Earthquake or Flare Blitz accordingly. So here I do go for the U-turn, as he is just going to be spamming Protect here, as he should be trying to potentially get super duper lucky and get billions of Protects so that he can Toxic Stole my Tornadus, and if he did, I think he might have actually been able to win the game. But here I am going to go for the U-turn here, and I am going to be able to knock out the superior and get into my Infernape. So the end game there is in sight. It is a bit annoying that my Zygarde couldn't get it. I think it might have been a damage roll, but oh well, that's Pokemon for you. So here I am going to be able to get into my Infernape, as he is going to go send out his Ampharos, thinking he can take any hit I have, but I am stalking I am stacked up with the Earthquake just because of things like Empoleon, Salazzle, Terrakion, and Ampharos. I did run that to basically take down half of his team, but unfortunately Scullipede is going to be able to come in here, and he might actually be able to Well, he might, yeah, he might actually be able to win this now if he is a Protect SD Rock Slide variant of, no, actually not Rock Slide. If he is just a Mono Poison Jab Scolipede, because he did show Toxic Spikes Protect and needs to run Sword Stance. So bit of a weird set if he were against the Mega Aggron especially, but he could have brought it, I guess. But no, fortunately he is not. He goes for a Rock Slide, and again I just about miss out on knocking out on offensive threats, as he does live with 3%. So Superior was 4%, so Scolipede was 3%, as unfortunately I am not going to be able to get the 2 and I am going to have to rely on my Tornadus not getting crit, because as I said, not getting crit, no, not getting flinched, sorry. And even if he does flinch me, I have to hope that he misses his second Rock Slide. So here he comes, Tornadus coming in here for the final showdown, and this is all coming down to it. My Charlie Berry allows me to live this Rock Slide, but I can't live a Rock Slide flinch into another Rock Slide, so this is it. He's going for the Protect here, probably thinking that that'll get me closer into range of the Rock Slide damage, which I guess there was a no drawback play to that, as he is going to gain, again, a little bit more recovery, and I'm going to take a little bit more toxic damage. And here we go, he is going to launch off the Rock Slide, he is going to connect, he is going to get a crit, he just does not need to get this flinch, and as you guys are about to see right at this second, he does not get the flinch. 30% chance, and your Armandos have got a very, very close 1-0 victory against Jay Reezy, and their first win in the Draft League World Series in total. So phenomenal game to Jay. If you are watching this, I love that game, buddy. Probably one of, if not my favorite Draft League games I've ever played before. It was so intense. My head hurt, and I felt like I did play safe a few times, but I was just getting a feel out for him. So hopefully you guys can understand that, even though it was a bit choppy at times, especially around the Mega Ampharos, playing a bit safe. I could have maybe brought the Decidueye because I felt like it did allow me to take on the Terrakion a little bit better. It also gave me a Ghost Spammer, which his team had no resistances to. Ghost was very spammable versus his team, and was why I was actually considering Decidueye. And also it allowed me to better take on that subset of the Superior. But I just felt like Decidueye left me too weak to offensive Superior, things like Hoopa Unbound. Plus also, its speed tier wasn't the best, whereas Tornadus outsped the entirety of his team. The fastest Pokemon he had was a Salazzle, so I could outspeed all of his team barring Choice Scarfers and Speed Boost Scolipede, and I could get the first U-turn off, or the first hit off generally. But that is basically the end of the game. Hopefully there will be uploads on the channel every single week of these games, if I can play and my opponents can play on the right time. But thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. I'm Parksy, and I'll see you guys in the next week for the next video. Remember, JJ Decidueye is a big fan, and yeah, that is me. Goodbye.